I have a love and hate relationship with the horror genre in films and video games. I believe that it's the genre that gets fucked over the absolute most. The very few amount of actually good horror movies and horror games existing is enough to back me up. From a psychological standpoint, I love horror because it's fun being scared. The adrenaline rush you get is unmatched compared to extreme sports, of course. This perfect state of adrenaline is only achieved if done correctly, of course. From an artist's standpoint, horror can be really well done and beautiful. However, like I mentioned before earlier, horror gets fucked over because everybody and their mother wants to make a cliche horror story, and it just ends up ruining it in over a number of ways. My only turnoff for horror movies and games is excessive gore. Like, a good amount of gore is fine, but once there's literally tanks of blood and guts, I just sit there and wonder what the fuck was going through the director's mind when he imagined the scene. What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mr. Weekly Uploads, and today we're talking about the overly edginess of a game called Agony. Agony was released in May 29th, 2018. The game had piqued my interest when I first saw that you had to survive and stealth your way around hell. It seemed pretty interesting, and the images that they showed when it was announced looked pretty badass. Hell looked as most would expect it, wet, and everything was on fire. In this game, you play as a spirit looking for something called the Red Goddess, and that's about all I'm going to say story-wise. The game's been met with some recent controversy involving censoring on console and PC platforms. The game's already rated M. How bad could it be? Pretty bad, but not the worst. It's just too dark and edgy for its own good. Here's what I mean. Agony is a dark and gruesome game that takes place in hell, so of course the studio would think that anything goes. Not in 2018, of course. Multiple deleted scenes have surfaced from the game which include, and I quote, interactive infant murder and first-person rape with visible penetration. The list of things that are still in the game, however, are included, but not limited to, gore, brutal sex scenes, lesbian and gay sex scenes, genital physics, eye gouging, heart plucking, children's heads exploding, setting fire to martyrs and demons, intense violence, strong language, and last but not least, drugs. I mean, that seems a little extra for a game about running through hell, but go off. Also, it said that the game's press kit was sent out with a cake modeled after a mutilated, vagina-headed demon torso. Did not know that was the energy we were on this year. However, the developers stated that they had to make some compromises before release. I'm guessing it was either release the game as is and risk getting an adult rating like Hatred did a few years back, which was another controversy in and of itself, or cut some of these wild scenes out. If you don't know, it's much harder to sell a game that's rated adult as opposed to rated mature. Now, as much as I want to show the deleted scenes, I don't want to get a strike on the video, so I'll describe it and try to blur it as best as I can. Links to the full scenes, unblurred, will be in the description. The first scene that's showing right now is where you're playing as the demon. On the floor are a bunch of fucked up babies, and you could just go around snapping their necks and throwing them all over the place. You can still walk into them to interact with them. The next scene is where the demon controlled by the player is to rape a succubus in first person. You get to see its demon dick fuck the shit out of this other demon. It's a little bit extra and over the top for me. If I could be real just for a second, why? Like, what part of the story? Why? What do you gain? The last set of sex scenes are of a cheeked up demon with ass physics. Like, its ass is jiggling all over the place. Sex happens after, and we see that a baby is born by a demon pulling it out of herself. Yikes. They tried to do all this extra shit and ended up with the shit end of the stick, however, because Agony was met with terrible scores all around the board. I'm not really sure how to feel about this. I feel like Agony was just made overly edgy for no reason. There's plenty of great horror games out there that don't have all this extra fuck shit in it. My favorite horror game is Outlast, but honorable mentions will go to Dead Space 2, PT, and Layers of Fear. In my honest opinion, these 4 games do the horror genre justice in video games, and everybody should give them a playthrough. That's all for this video though. My name is Bruce, and if you enjoyed this and would like to see more, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to ring the bell. Leave a like if you liked the video and dislike if you didn't. I'll be in the comments to discuss the horror genre and the deleted scenes from Agony. Peace.